It's great to be with you. October 30th, 2020 on a Friday. Here are some inspirational stories from the news today. New York Times, Wall Street Journal, and Boston Globe. This first one is from the Globe, and it's a phrase that is from Norway, and it's pronounced Friluftsliv. 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 And this is a term describing open air living. So it was from the Norwegian playwright and poet Heinrich Ibsen in the 1850s about being out in the fresh air, being healthy, doing things out in the winter air. A list of songs in the Globe related to Election Day and Election Night. Signed, sealed, and delivered, I'm Yours by Stevie Wonder, and a lot of other ones. So that's cool. You can make your own playlist. I'm a music therapist as well, so I'm always looking for a playlist of songs to use. An article in the Wall Street Journal that I'm kind of using for what I call building my pipeline and people that I want to contact and get more information to about what I do, people that are on the rise and doing great things. So, and there's some companies also I look for this to look up their website. I follow CEOs and websites. So this is David Barrett, Chief Executive of Expensify, a business software startup. Rob Reinhart, co-founder of a nutritional drink startup, Soylent. Katie Jacobs Stanton, who was a venture capitalist firm worker called Moxie Ventures. So I'll check out all these websites and send those folks some information about what I do, building that pipeline. You got to aim high. Why not? An article about masculinity in today's race, Trump versus Biden, and the different types of masculinity that they both exude. And this said that Trump is engineered for our sensation-saturated, image-based times. Interesting. And I like to look at inspiration in the news, not in a political lens, but just in terms of creativity. So that was that. In the Wall Street Journal, there was a story about Ray Kroc, who created McDonald's way back in the 50s. His estate is selling now for $29 million, 554-acre lodge. And it's so cool the way it was set up. It's basically like a big hamburger. And in the middle is this awesome fireplace. This is what I really liked, with a circle of like couch seats. That would be awesome to hang up. An article about a guy, they have a documentary about this guy called the Donut King. He is from Cambodia, and he ended up being very poor. And then he created a donut shop, which then he added another one, and it was making money. And pretty soon he had like 25 shops. He was making a lot of money. And then he had a big downfall where he was totally addicted to gambling, and he was abusive and adulterous. So I'm always interested to hear of those rags to riches, or, like fall from fame stories. So that's something to look out for. This is an article from the Wall Street Journal about this pollster who says that he thinks Trump can still win because of this psychology term called social acceptability bias, which an example might be if you ask any retirement community if they've ever watched Jerry Springer, they'll all say no. But in fact, some of them have. So why would they lie? Or people lie when you ask them after the polls, because they have a belief that they want to be accepted by social beliefs. So it's a kind of an interesting term, social acceptability bias. A listing of a bunch of older horror movies to watch, suspense, like The Birds. As I said last week, I'm into Alfred Hitchcock now. Diabolique, which is a 1955 well-made um, movie. So a lot of things, even way back to 1922 with Nosferatu, pretty much the first horror film, a silent film. As you know, I usually like to read up on CEOs and leaders. Here's the chief executive of Tootsie Roll. And we're going with our candy theme again. Her company also has Junior Mints, Sugar Babies. Ellen R. Gordon is the CEO. And it talks a bit about her philanthropy, which I'm always interested in. And also their company has Wacko Wax, a leading supplier of cherry-flavored wax lips and fangs. And those are fun. An article from the New York Times about Frederick Wiseman, who is a documentarian, very famous. And I first heard of him from his Tittycut Follies, which is a very famous, powerful documentary from 1967 that chronicled the abuse that was taking place in a prison for the criminally insane, and where these guys had zero rights. So, I think that's a key element in being inspired by the news every day, is if you can flip it. Of course, that's a horrible story, but it can be inspirational if you turn it on its side and say, well, how can we be more helpful? What can we learn from that experience? He has a new documentary about Boston City Hall. So, an obituary listing of Diane DePrima. She was a poet in the Beat era. And of course, that was a really male dominated area. And she really stood out there. And I'd like to check out some of her books. Dr. Joyce Wallace is someone who has passed away recently. And she really took care of prostitutes and helped them with AIDS. And she would just load up her van with condoms and treatment for AIDS, gloves, and just try to be helpful of people that were really shunned and people that were really struggling. So that took a lot of strength on her end. And an article about the trend of holidays are going to have to look different this year because of COVID. So it was just kind of a interesting article. So those are some stories that I found to be inspirational. I'd love to hear what you think of some of them. If you want to find out more information about my life coaching, check out allthehatswewear.com. And we talk about time management, personal productivity, and living your life purpose, having a plan. I also have a book called All the Hats We Wear, and it has a stepwise progression of all the things you would need to do to organize all these hats you wear. So check out the book on my website. It's for free. And I'd love to hear from you. Take care.